So I just started watching One Piece, and I thought it'd be a cool idea to see how my thoughts and opinions change on the characters and the story of the anime the farther I get into it. And I thought it would also just make a good video. So each video I make on this will be containing one of the sagas in One Piece, and I'll be ranking every arc in that saga. Thought that'd be a cool way to do it. At the number 6 spot, I have the Romance Dawn arc. It's just the introduction of the story of One Piece. Also, you get to figure out who Luffy is, how he got his Devil Fruit powers, what type of character he's going to be going forward, and why he wants to be the Pirate King. You also see him starting up his crew, getting Zoro. And you also get to see the first fight with Zoro, Luffy, and Captain Morgan, I believe. There wasn't anything really special about this arc besides, the introduction to the actual story. So that's why I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. Nothing special, and it's the beginning of it, so I wasn't expecting too much. Also, I forgot to mention Kobe, who I'm pretty sure is going to be like the Luffy side of the Marines, because Luffy wants to be the Pirate King, the highest rank you can be for the pirates. And about the same thing Kobe's going to do in the future of the show, become the highest rank of Marine, and that will be the end fight of One Piece. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. At the number 5 spot, I have the Syrup Village arc. I have no clue if that's controversial or not. I just did not like it. The reason I don't like it is because of the Black Cat Pirate Crew. I hated them. They just annoyed me the entire time they were there. I love the whole story with Ussop and Kea. Just Usopp's whole story, backstory in this arc. It was really good. I also love the twist with the butler, who was actually the captain of the Black Pirate Crew. I'm just going to say the villains because that's really hard to say. I think it was overall a good introduction to Usopp and the character. Just the villains annoyed me. So that's why I am going to give it a 4 out of 10. At the number 4 spot, I have the Orange Town arc. Overall, it was a really fun arc, and you get to see a new Straw member, Nami. She seems to be very untrustworthy, and you don't know a whole lot about her yet. Zoro. And you see, his fame brings on to other, throughout the entire world, he's very famous, and it shows, oh, Luffy actually has someone really powerful on his crew. Also, Zoro's my favorite character, so that's why I'm going to be talking about Zoro a lot. So. It also brings Buggy the Clown, which is one of my favorite villains in the show. He's recurring too. Even with all the praise I gave it, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because nothing, actually insane really happens in this. So yeah, 5 out of 10. It's a solid arc. The number 3 spot, I have the Looptown arc. It gives us a backstory of the world we're in, a backstory of Gold D. Rogers, who was the Pirate King. This arc also introduces one of my favorite characters. He's a vice admiral for the Marines. His name's Smoker. He becomes a recurring character later on in the show. I have seen the first 200 episodes of the show, so that's why I do know he's going to become a recurring character. So yeah, forgot to mention that before. Also, he's the first introduction to a Logia-type Devil Fruit character, which comes later on in the story. In the Skypiea arc, you see a lot more of the Logia type. The next 2 arcs is really what shows what One Piece is. The first saga is really just an introduction to the entire show. And of course, it's the first time Oda's writing these characters, so obviously it's not going to be as good as it will be in the future. So it makes sense why this isn't so good. But the next 2 arcs are actually some of the best arcs in the show that I've seen so far. Also, if you have made it this far, you might as well like the video and, maybe even subscribe if you want to see more of my reviews of One Piece, someone who's just watching it. But in the number 2 spot, I'm going to have to get to the I don't know how to say this. Barrett arc. It's the one that Sanji gets introduced first. He's going to be a new crew member of the Straw Hats. This arc also gives us a backstory to Zoro, and it really proves that he is that one-dimensional sword character. I just love that so much because they go 100% into that kind of character for him, and it works so well. Most of the time, I don't like those type of characters, but Oda does such a good job with Zoro in this anime. This arc is really defined by the Mihawk and Zoro fight. It shows that Zoro really wants to become the greatest swordsman. He'll do whatever it takes. And it shows how far he has to get to become the best swordsman of all time. Because Mihawk, who is considered the best swordsman right now, uses a freaking 2-inch sword to destroy Zoro when he's using his 3-sword style, which is absolutely insane. And this fight also at the end shows the most emotional scene in the entire saga that I think of, just seeing Zoro absolutely defeated. Also, with the introduction of Sanji, I really liked it because it kind of makes this rivalry of Zoro and Sanji. But the problem that I have with Sanji is they made him that pedo type of character, like how Jiraiya is in Naruto. Not as bad as Jiraiya, but I really hate that character show up in anime. I wish they just wouldn't have had this in the show because Sanji could have been one of my favorites. He does become one of my favorites later on, especially in the Alabasta arc, but that's not what we're talking about. So yeah, the ranking I'd give it is a 7 out of 10 because it is kind of it is a character introduction arc with Sanji's backstory and everything. But if it was just the Zoro and Mihawk fight, easily a 10 out of 10. The best arc in the saga and one of the best arcs in the show entirely that I've seen so far is the Arlong Park arc. It is so freaking good. This is when we finally actually learn about Nami and why she has been this very untrustworthy person this entire time. Her entire village has been under the rule of Arlong, and she has to pay back $60 million to get it back from Arlong, and she's been like almost like a slave to Arlong this entire time. I've said Arlong a lot. So this entire time you see that Nami's been this very just like bad person overall, and then you actually figure out why that is. And at the beginning of this arc, she actually steals the ship, or at least most of the stuff, from the Straw Hats. And even with that, Luffy still comes and helps her, even though he barely knows who she is. That also just shows what type of character Luffy is, that he always cares about, he just cares about people, and his crew especially. Even after she steals everything, he still wants to help her. This arc really gets your heart racing, because with Luffy trapped underwater and the whole fight, it actually seems there's like a consequence to this fight, or at least when you're watching it, so it looks really good. Also, Ussop doesn't act like a coward the entire time like he had for the last few arcs. I like that. Finally makes him a little bit better and a little bit more character development to Ussop, who hasn't really had any since his arc he was introduced in. Overall, arc easily a 9 out of 10, maybe even a light 10 out of 10. I'm gonna go with 9 out of 10 though. If you don't like One Piece after this arc, you should just drop One Piece. Overall, I'm gonna give the East Blue arc, East Blue Saga, the East Blue Saga a solid 5 out of 10, because like I've said many times, it's the introduction saga, and they're still trying to figure out everything about the show. It's not going to be as good as the later ones, obviously. Now let's talk about the Straw Hat crew. Let's first talk about the captain and Luffy. He always acts like this funny, goofy person, doesn't actually really care about anything. But when it comes to his crew and just people, you know, he shows that he actually cares so much. Even though he's not selfish or anything, and like he'll put on the line of his Pirate King and like almost sacrifice himself to save the people he loves and cares about. Let's talk about Zoro. I've already talked about him a lot, but I'm just gonna re-say what I've said twice already, I'm pretty sure. He's that one-dimensional sword character, and he's my favorite character. I love that about him. Ona writes him so well in that type of category. Now with Nami acts like this very selfish person, but the more you learn about her backstory, you understand why. And so she cares about money a lot, but I'm pretty sure that's because of the circumstances she was born in. And even with that, you can still, like, the more time you spend with her, you can still see that she does care about all these people she's with. We already talked about Sanji, but let's talk about him a little bit more. He does act kind of like a counterpart to Zoro, they have a little bit of a rivalry. But the reason I don't like him as much as Zoro is because of that pedo type of character they like to put on anime characters, which really brings his character down from like 3 points. Last and least, and I did say least, because they did such a good job with him in his the first arc he is introduced in. Then after that, they don't really do a whole lot with his character. He's just this liar and coward. He hasn't had a lot of character development, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, hopefully later on he gets a lot better. Even where I'm at in the actual show, I still see him as this very cowardly character, and he hasn't had enough character depth yet for me to actually like him a lot. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, you might as well subscribe and wait for some of my other One Piece videos that I'm gonna make in the future. So yeah, bye.